Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is my beginner trading recap where I document my journey as I learn to trade in the stock market. Okay, so it's been a while since I've posted a trading update, and that's because I went through a losing streak. I've been working a second job, as I think I mentioned before, and I've just been feeling kind of overwhelmed, and so I've been focusing on studying and nailing down a strategy and system because I feel like the reason why I've been having such inconsistent results is that my strategy hasn't been consistent. And the book that I've been reading has been super helpful. I was actually thinking about making a separate video on it, so look out for that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and look at my profit loss for the last couple of weeks. So let's go to the account tab. Okay, so the first thing I want you to notice is the net account value is a little bit higher than it was before. I added another $2,000 to it. Now there was, before I added 2,000 to it, it was $645 or $50. I think at one time it was up to $660. And so I lost that, and I'll show you kind of what happened. So last time I posted an update, it was right over here. I'd been doing really good. I was making profits, whatever. And then I went through this losing streak, and you can see, I mean, how much bigger these losses are than the profits. And that's partly because I was trading larger position sizes. And yeah, and then you can see there's a lot of days in here that I didn't trade. And that's because it's really hard when you go through a long losing streak. So yeah, it's been kind of crazy. So like I mentioned, I've been reading a couple books actually and really just focusing on being a student and learning as much as I can. And one of the things that I've been working really hard on is to figure out, what methodology do I want to use as a trader, and then figuring out a system within that methodology that I can back test so I know, okay, I'm going to win 65% of the time and I expect, drawdowns of X amount, etc., because of course you're going to have losers, but understanding that you're going to lose, let's say, 4 out of 10 trades is really important, because then when you do lose, let's say, 4 trades in a row, you're not surprised. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on, and you'll see the last couple of days I have plus 60 cents, plus $1.48, and then I didn't trade, and then I have plus 55 cents. Now today I was actually up 77 cents, then it was down a little over $1, and then it came back to only down 55 cents. So that was pretty good, and I'll show you the orders I did today. And then just a note about the last couple of days, I've been trading much smaller position size. So on sub $10 stocks, like 5 or 10 or 8 shares, and then the larger ETFs that I trade sometimes, like Gush and LabU, just 2 or 3 shares. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at today's orders, the ones that were filled. So I had several on Gush. So I had a buy at $52.80, sell at $53.04, and then a buy at $50.59, and I stopped out at $49.77. Now, this was a bad trade. This was not part of my methodology, but I sort of thought, well, I think after Gush sort of sold off, it's going to push back up for the day, which it ended up doing later. But again, it wasn't part of my strategy and my methodology, so I lost confidence. It stopped out and then ended up pushing up. So this again goes back to the same thing, that a lot of what I've been struggling with is having a methodology, a system that tells me when to buy, when to sell, and how to go about that process that I'm currently back testing. So that was a fluke. Sometimes it's really hard to have the self-control to just not jump into a trade because I think it's going to go up. Well, why? I don't know. Anyways, okay, so then I had a few trades on DRIP, which is the inverse ETF of Gush. And I'll kind of explain how that fits together in a minute. So I had a buy at 420, and then I stopped out at 419. So that was a great trade. As it moved up, I raised my stop loss, and then it came back and stopped me out at -1 cent per share, 10 shares, right? So 10 cents. So that was a good trade. I controlled my risk well. And then another on drip, a buy at $4.05, and then a sell at $4.12. So that was a pretty good trade. Now, this one and I think actually the previous one were both over 1% of the position size, right? So here I had 5 shares, right? So my position size was pretty small actually. So even though it's only like a buy at $3.98 and then a sell at $4.03, even though that's only 5 cents per share, that's over 1%, right? So that was actually pretty good, and the same thing with this other one. So let's just go over to the chart, and I'm going to kind of show you what I've been doing and the methodology that I've been trying to focus and backtest. One quick note, you'll notice that the unsettled cash is only $300 of my total account, and that's because, like I mentioned, I'm trading very small position size, as you can see in this column right here. So let's go over to the trade tab. So I want to just basically explain, I've been focusing on a certain methodology, which basically people refer to as band trading, which the general idea is you take a stock and you determine what the average trading range is, right? So let's say it's a $50 stock and it trades between $45 and $55, let's just say, generally. Or the trading range is like $2 or whatever, right? The average amount of price that it moves within any given day. And so you kind of look for those levels, and you might draw support and resistance lines there, and then as it comes down to the bottom, that's your buy signal. As it goes to the top, you sell. Now, obviously, it's not always going to do that, and that's where the losses come in, because there's no such thing as a system that's 100% accurate, despite what some gurus might tell you. So you can see here, I've sort of made these channels, right? But kind of on the higher and lower ends of where the stock is trading between as it goes up, and then as it goes down, and then as it goes back up. Now, you'll notice that it doesn't always stay within those ranges, and that's why the channels are always changing. So what I did today, now when I went through my trades, I did them backwards. I did the last trade first and so on. The ones at the bottom on that section are the ones that I traded first. So what I did is, as Gush was selling off for the day, I didn't actually draw channels here, but I kind of had sort of mental ones, if you will. So as it sold off and came back up, I looked at the chart and I said, there's not really any resistance there's no really support, previous level where the stock has bounced at within the last, several weeks. Until way down here. So I was expecting it to bounce here and drop again, bounce and drop. And so that's where I made several trades on the inverse ETF, which is DRIP, and we'll just go over there real quick. Right, so if we kind of scroll out here, so you see this is kind of first thing in the morning, and you'll see I kind of made some channels. I made some trades in here, right? So it's the same idea, it just when I have a clear trend, Gush is going up, I'll put in channels or bands and then I'll trade it. When I have a clear trend down on Gush, I'll do the same thing on the inverse ETF. And so that's the general methodology is, let's say, band trading or support and resistance trading, right? And then basically I'm using that strategy to trade when I have a clear trend on one of these ETFs, and then when I have a downtrend, I'll do the inverse, right? So it kind of makes it so that theoretically, I can always have opportunities. Now, that being said, I've made it sound very simplistic. There's a little bit more to it than that, naturally, because you'll see that it doesn't always just go up, bottom of the channel, top of the channel. But that's kind of the idea. And you'll notice here, I mean, this is kind of like, how do you make a channel for this? It's, kind of all over the place. But that's kind of the general methodology. And then what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to trade it. I'm journaling my trades, And then basically what I'm doing is I'm back testing that and I'm saying, okay, what percentage of the time am I right? And then the other thing that I just wanted to mention real quick is I'm always trying to make sure that every trade I take, now there was that one trade today which was just a bad trade, and I just, again, it wasn't part of my methodology that I'm trying to back test. It's really easy to get caught up in the, ooh, I could make money on this trade. And just your brain goes out the window. At least that's kind of my struggles. But you always want to make sure when you have a trade that you're always risking less than you can potentially make. And the benefit to this is that, let's say I'm risking 10 cents on a trade, but if the trade goes with me, right, if I make money on the trade, I'm going to make at least 10 cents, if not 20 cents or 30 cents. So, hopefully you'll make 2 to 3 times whatever you're risking. And most of the trades I took today, I did that, right? So like the channel comes down here, it starts bouncing up. Well, I'm having my stop, like 15 cents below, and I'm expecting that I can make 50, 60, even 70 cents a share. And so that's how, even if you only have a 60% win rate, you can still make money. So I've been learning a lot from the books I've been reading, and like I said, I've been really focusing on that and trading less, smaller position size. And basically, I guess what I realized is that I need to actually back test the system before I really go full tilt into upping my position size, because I need to know what percentage of the time can I expect to win, what percentage of the time can I expect to lose, and then just learn, like, after a losing streak, I should lower my position size, not raise my position size. That's one thing that I learned from the book that was really insightful, because I was doing the exact opposite. So I hope that was interesting and informative. Like I said, this is really just documenting my journey as I learned to day trade. I am fully committed to learning how to day trade in the stock market. And so I'm just going to keep at it and keep making these videos. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I purposely make these videos. I don't really edit them too much because I want it to just be real. There's no script. I'm just sitting and just sharing my thoughts. So I hope that this was helpful and hopefully encouraging and interesting. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you're day trading, if you're making progress, if you're not, or maybe reasons that you don't day trade. It's always interesting to hear from people. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.